Alright, fellow Slayers, time to take a look at the final episode of the day, which is Entropy. At Sunnydale Cemetery, the trio chase after some vampires and ATVs, but they crash into each other, give the vamps a chance to escape. Buffy shows up, Buffy shows up and attacks the vampires, forcing one to drop a disc it was holding. Ward snatches and the trio escapes, unseen by the Slayer. Buffy takes on two of the vampires, but receives some help when Spike shows up. He holds one of the vampires out of the way while he starts up a conversation. He raised the issue of Buffy telling her friends about them, but she denies it and acts indifferent to his threat of telling them himself. Xander mopes alone in his apartment and eventually leaves. As he walks away, Anya watches him from behind some bushes. The next day, in UC Sunnydale, where Will waits for her outside of her classroom, the two talk and plan a coffee date. Buffy and Dawn shop together, but have a difficult time as Dawn has a shoplifting record at most of the stores. They chat about all the things Dawn stole and how they can work to remedy the problem. Elsewhere, Jonathan works on a project involving the disc they stole as Warren watches over it, eager for the project to be completed. While Jonathan finishes his work alone, Warren and Andrew talk about their inability to trust Jonathan and how it'll be soon before they wouldn't need him anymore. That evening, Xander comes home from work and finds Anya in his apartment. Xander tries to apologize for walking away from their wedding. He tries to explain his feelings about wanting to stop the wedding before it happened. Taken aback, and Anya asks Xander what he meant. Xander tries to change the subject until Anya cuts him off, asking if he still wants to marry her. Xander admits to loving her dearly and wanting to be back with her, but says that he's still too afraid of himself to marry her. With the back to Xander, she reveals her vengeance demon face and wishes him physical harm. Frustrated her attempts to grant her own wish were unsuccessful, she leaves. The next day, Anya has coffee with Halfrick, and they talk about Anya's attempts at vengeance. Halfrick warns Anya that she couldn't grant her own wishes, and that she has to get someone else to wish Xander harm. At the Summers' house, Buffy makes pancakes for Dawn. Dawn realizes Buffy is trying too hard to make up for what happened when she was crazy. She proposes the idea of joining Buffy on patrol so the two would spend some time together, but Buffy doesn't allow this. On their coffee date, Willow fills Terry in on all of the supernatural activities she has missed over the past months. One interrupts and wants to talk about her pain and how Xander caused it. She also talks to Dawn and Buffy in an attempt to get one of them to wish something horrible on Xander, but none of them go along with it. While talking with Buffy, Xander shows up at the house, and Anya leaves in a huff. Buffy talks him out of going after Anya and takes his aggression out on a lawn gnome. When Buffy tries to recognize the decoration as something she put there, Xander checks it out and discovers it has a small camera inside. Buffy goes to Spike in his crypt and presents him the small camera, asking whether he had anything to do with it being on her lawn. It's offended that she would even accuse him of such a thing. Buffy reminds him that it's not like he hadn't done anything like this in the past, but Spike tells her he doesn't want. But Spike tells her he doesn't want to hurt her since she fell in love with her, which Buffy acknowledges, and tries to convince her that what existed between them was real. Buffy knew it was, but only for him. He tries to convince Spike to forget about everything that happened between them and opines that he should move on, but interrupts Buffy, telling her to get out. At the magic box, Anya and Halford continue to talk about getting vengeance on Xander. Anya realizes that she needs to find someone who needs Xander to make the wish. Spike walks into the shop, looking for a spell to ease his pain. As Halford leaves, Anya offers Spike a bottle of whiskey. Willow works on her computer to try to trace the camera found in the gnome. At the same time, Jonathan finally completes his work with the disc and performs a ritual that highlights a spot on a Sunnydale map. The trio is happy to locate the target, but the map abruptly catches fire. Meanwhile, Anya and Spike are drinking together and complain about their respective relationship problems. Spike sympathizes with her over the way Xander treated her, so Anya tries to use that to her advantage, but Spike doesn't actually make a wish. Willow finally taps into the source of the camera and discovered that there are cameras all over town in most of the Scooby Gang's hangouts. The gang realizes the trio are responsible, which galvanizes Buffy. At the magic box, Spike compliments Anya and sues her to see a common tie between them. She feels guilty about having with Xander, and Spike consoles her. The two kiss and undress. Andrew realizes someone's tapped into their video feed. Wilson was blocked the magic box feed just as Spike and Anya are having sex on a table. Warren directs Andrew to shut down the videos, but is distracted by the action on the magic box camera. Back at the Summers house, Buffy, John, and Xander also see the computer screen and what's going on at the shop. Xander's infuriated while Buffy's hurt and goes outside. Jobless Buffy finds out the truth about Buffy and her relationship with Spike. Will then informs them that Xander is gone and left with an axe. Spike and Anya get dressed silently. Spike leaves the shop and Xander attacks him just outside. Going to him to fight back, Spike reminds him that's not possible due to the chip. Xander proceeds to further trash the vampire. Just before he can stake Spike, Anya comes out and tries to stop Xander. She manages to distract him long enough for Buffy to knock him out of the way. Xander and Anya yell at each other about each other's rights for vengeance and moving on with their lives. Xander says Anya would even touch Spike. Spike adds that he was good enough for Buffy. With this, Xander and Anya discover the truth about Buffy and Spike. Xander storms off, so Buffy also walks off. Spike begins making a wish against Xander, but Anya stops him and they part ways. Tara goes to Willow in her bedroom. She gives a speech about all they have to do to rebuild their relationship, but is willing to skip all that. She asks Will to just kiss her, which she promptly does. Aww, yay. So let's take a list of continuity surrounding this episode. Buffy mentions someone tried to kill her sister and friends in the previous week, referred to when she acted under the Glark Ghoul Kashmanik's influence in Normal Again. Tara asks Will about the aftermath of the events from Normal Again as well. As Tara clarifies about her friend seen in the same episode, Will gains courage to ask her out as she planned at the time. At university, Tara wears the leather jacket John gave to Buffy in Older and Far Away. Jonathan mutters about being deader than an ex-girlfriend, and restoring having killed Katrina Silber in Dead Things. Anya and Scooby see each other the first time since the cancelled wedding in Hell's Bells. Anya said to Xander that she wished tentacles where his beady eyes were, and he briefly stated that Xander's eyes are beady and wants more of a feeling. Alpha explains Anya that vengeance demons are unable to enact wishes on their own behalf, and Own It Part 4 of Vengeance to often will attempt to remove this limitation from their powers. Dawn asks Buffy so they patrol together. She'll allow her lessons after they fight together in Grave. Dawn argues that the Scoobies patrolled since they were her age, which Buffy says it's true, but claims Dawn is technically only 1.5 years old. She was first created as a human in Buffy vs. Dracula. In the Conversation Coffee Shop, Wheeler calls the Wig Lady the Invisibility Ray and the Savolte Demon Eggs. Anya claims that Xander likes to watch girl on girl action. In Restless, he dreamed about watching Willow and Tara kiss. Dawn says she doesn't use the WISH word anymore. In reference to accident, wish she made it Older and Far Away. Anya mentions to Buffy her former lovers, but Buffy counters with that they have only been three guys. This is a reference to Buffy's past sexual partners, Angel, Riley Finn, Parker Abrams, and secretly Spike. Buffy jokes that if Willow had put the creepy lawn gnome in her home while she was dead, she would have crawled from her grave sooner. Reference having done so in Bargaining Part 2. Describes Spike gets obsessed with Buffy and hanging out in the yard to keep an eye on her. Spike's love for Buffy became public knowledge and crush, and she first saw him lurking in front of her house in no place like home. When Buffy tells Spike she suspects him to be spying her with a camera, Spike strongly denies it because he has changed. Before he fell in love with her, Spike had recruited a minion to spy on her with a camera in Halloween. The trio's efforts to locate something in Sunnydale are revealed in Seeing Red, to be so they get to the orbs of Nesla Khan and be able to physically fight the Slayer. Word enters mistrust on Jonathan discussed this episode will be put in practice as well. Anya and Spike bond about their common situation among the Scoobies with their evil past, as they had done in Where the Wild Things Are. The Scoobies discover they are under surveillance for the trio, which they have been doing since Life serial. Buffy's relationship with Spike becomes general knowledge among Willow, Dawn, Xander, and Anya. Riley discovered in Nessie where, and Buffy told Tara and Dead Things, which Giles will only know in Grave. The dress hanging in Willow's door is the one she wore during some with Tara once more with feeling. Willow and Tara resume their relationship, having been separated since Tabula Rasa. So let's take a look at some production notes. While shopping, Buffy and Dawn walk along the 3rd Street Promenade in Santa Monica. The scene where Jonathan uses this to highlight a location on a map parallels the scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark, in which Indiana Jones used a similar object to locate on a scale model where the Ark of the Covenant is kept. Eddie Caggiano was credited as mother, even though her scene was cut. Now let's take a look at some deleted scenes. The scene where Buffy and Dawn are shopping was cut. Buffy, and in a couple months, let's visit the leather birthday jacket. A young mother pushing a baby calmly comes across, about to bump into Dawn, who's looking at a store. Buffy takes Dawn's arm zero of the way. Dawn jumps ever so slightly at Buffy's touch, startled. They both stop, look at each other, embarrassed, realizing what just happened. Buffy, oh, I was just sorry. Dawn, no, I'm sorry. They walk for a moment in silence. The mood has changed, become strained. Buffy, I would never. Dawn, I know. You weren't you. They walk for another moment. More silence. Then Buffy bursts herself out of it, tries to lighten the mood. Okay, Buffy. Okay, you know what we need? Dawn, what? Buffy, warm chocolate chip cookies. Just warm as puppies and somewhat tastier. Buffy and Willow's exchange about the trio's lair was cut. Willow, can't help thinking maybe you're closer than you thought. Can't help maybe thinking you were closer than you thought the day you went out with the addresses. Buffy, and they said Psycho Demon to interrupt me. Now let's take a look at some pop culture references. When Buffy's making large variety of breakfast foods, Dawn asks, Are we at the International House of something? In reference to the International House of Pancakes. Buffy and Dawn pass by an old Navy store and a pottery barn. Warren calls Jonathan Padawan. First used in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Warren taunts Jonathan with reference to his height, calling him Short Round, then connected with the sidekick in the film Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. It mentions how he highlighted Jonathan's Babylon 5 novels. Sarah Purvis used the poem Second Coming, saying, Things fall apart, they fall apart so hard. Anya and Spike drink Evan Williams bourbon whiskey. And now finally, let's take a look at some goofs. In the breakfast scene, when Buffy serves on pancakes, but then when Dawn goes to sit to eat them, they've disappeared from the plate. Also at the breakfast scene, the corner of a lightning flag is visible in the upper right corner. Okay then. So I think this episode is pretty good, and I like the fact that Willow and Tara are finally back together again, so yay! So overall, I give Entropy 4 vampire steaks out of 5. Well, anyway, tune in more as we do the next episode, Seeing Red. So, until then, here endeth the lesson.